Hi, Iuliana. Hello, hello.
Hello.
Hi.
I
So we will talk today about sourcing. We will talk about the talent pool, right? So it's very cool that you are actually keen to share some insights with fellow community members and fellow recruiters inside the Tech Recruitment Academy. And I also specifically invited you to share some tips and insights because you are really killing it when it comes to submitting great candidates for some of our clients, right? Like you also work with us as an associate. So I thought this would be a great opportunity to actually also highlight some of your recent successes and placements, but also to share with people who are just transitioning to IT recruitment and they may not know exactly like what to do, what does it take to find a suitable candidate. So thanks for joining the podcast and even a YouTube video.
welcome. And as I told you earlier, even I learned this with other trainers, how to source IT recruiters. Even with you, I keep learning by participating every week on sourcing webinar because I saw every time something new can appear and I refresh my memory in this
Awesome,
way.
awesome.
And I had in the past 2 years, I think, with two companies from Holland, from Belgium, training on sourcing IT recruiters,
Mhm.
and that is how I become proficient. Let's say
Mhm. And do you mean IT recruiters or do you mean IT candidates?
IT candidates.
IT
Sorry.
candidates, yeah. Because you are an IT recruiter, right? And sometimes we also source other IT recruiters, but I guess you are referring to candidates like full stack developers, back end, front end, right? So, uh, which position is the one that you recently closed? Like, which one are you most proud of?
I have a full stack developer.
Mm-hmm. Cool, cool. So some of the mainstream positions, and I was just talking with one academy member who is transitioning to IT recruitment, and he was really sort of clueless. Like it could be overwhelming. So, what would be your best advice for someone just starting with IT recruitment? What can they do? What should be their first step in terms of sourcing?
First of all, I think they have to be creative in focusing on the job description. To the job post has to summarize the essential keywords and how the candidates will see the company. And effective job description, I think, can attract the candidates' attention.
Mm-hmm.
That's the main one.
Mm-hmm.
After that, they can use different sourcing platform or social media platforms for searching candidates. Nowadays, people use Facebook. I'm not using a lot. Only I enter in some groups for Java, C Sharp, C++ on Facebook because Facebook has approximately 2.85 billion active user monthly, and it's as it is one of top social media platform. It's I think it's still untapped resource in recruitment.
So what can actually people expect from posting on Facebook or in one of these groups? Like can they or should they imagine they would join a group and then they can post? It is free. Do they have to pay?
Uh,
And what do they
no,
post?
it's free, but you need just to join the group and to get admitted by the administrator of the group, and then you can post on the group. Some of them allow posting without getting admitted previously. I
Mhm.
did that, but I didn't get results, so I
Mhm.
prefer mostly Google Boolean search.
I see. I see. So then you go to Facebook groups, you post to a few
Yes.
related groups, and do you have some
Yes.
nice creative? Do you create some image that goes with?
Yes, I create with Canvas a few job posting like we are hiring top talent, Java developer or full stack, or
Mhm.
a full-time remote. I am trying to make it attractive,
Mhm.
but the candidates are not so reactive on that because many of them they use Facebook for socializing, I guess,
Yes,
most
yes,
of the
yes.
time.
There are people who are always open to opportunities, even if they don't look actively, but they still, when they see something, like you mentioned, something interesting, something appealing with nice image, then they may be open to discussing. So then what would you suggest works better, when you have a link for people to apply, or do you have just the claim, like comment below and reach out to me, or what works best for you?
I leave them my email address or
Mm-hmm.
my website link.
I see. Okay.
I post both there,
Mhm.
and I
Okay.
get some, but they were not right.
Mhm.
They were too juniors, and I could not get with that. Another, my favorite one is LinkedIn.
Mhm.
Platform, because I use LinkedIn Recruiter, and this allows me to refine the criteria to filter. There are many options, even on LinkedIn. Simple. Uh, you can find profiles which LinkedIn Recruiter doesn't give. So both ways, it proves LinkedIn is a professional platform for people who wants to change the job, or who are looking to grow their career.
Mhm. And on LinkedIn, do you then also post in groups? Are you a member of similar groups like Java developers, front end,
Uh,
React, etc.?
yes, they are the same. I have to join the group, then I can post.
Mm-hmm.
But there is also LinkedIn advertising. In this option, you can create an ad with just like $10,
Mm-hmm.
and you can reach potential candidates by following different steps. Like you manage the campaign, or you use the campaign manager, or you choose text ads, or cost per click. There are many options there.
Mm-hmm. And if you compare the three, essentially, one is the search, the second is posting in LinkedIn groups, and the third one is paid advertisement. Which one would you say works best for you? Like, which is the one that you would recommend someone who is just starting to start with?
For me, works better when I search by myself, because when I post, I receive hundreds candidates, and many of them are not a right fit for the job, and I'm just feeling like I waste the time by filtering.
Hmm. I see. When you reach out to people, then you send them a connection request, or do you send them an email? Do you have their email addresses? How does it work?
I use all the options, because I need to search for many profiles. So when I finish emails, I connect with them. When I finish connecting, I search them email address, and I connect with them. I send them emails.
Mhm.
So in order to reach many, because I have many projects, I
Mhm.
use all the channels.
Mhm.
Let's say.
Yeah, yeah, and there are not that many emails. Sometimes people are a bit surprised that per month they only get 30 credits for emails. So, is it a huge obstacle based on your experience? What's
Uh,
your this?
I saw some candidates, they reply, I'm not interested, and then I get the email back.
Mhm.
But many of them, they don't just decline, they don't reply. And
Mm.
it happened as during this holiday, they say, I'm on holiday, I'm not interested to change the job. So
Mhm.
at least they reply, but others, they don't do.
Yes,
And
yes, yes. Now, when you say it, probably we should include, or you could also include some message, something like, "If you are not interested, at least respond, so I get my credit back," or something like this.
they will think I am.
I
Yeah.
paid for this message. Please respond, even if you are not interested, so I get my credit back. Anyway, so and when you don't have enough credits, you use all 30, and I could imagine, with your amount of openings that you are working on, you could use them in one day, right? And then you have to
Yes.
wait for people to
Yeah.
respond. So then, what do you do next? You start
Then
with
per
your.
week, I have 100 connections. I can connect with only 100 people. And then I have different tools to find them email address. And as it is a public info, I send them email from my business company email. And I some of them, they reply, they are interested, and we discuss. And I can promote them to the hiring manager.
Mhm. Okay, that's interesting that you mentioned emails, because some people have the perception that emails don't work, but it looks like it's a numbers game, right? You send 100 emails and some people will respond. It is not 100, it is not 50, it is probably not 20. So what is the percentage that you would say is realistic to expect?
I did let's say before 2 weeks I sent 300 emails,
Hmm.
and I got I think 50 replies, but I hire one person from that people.
Nice, nice.
Yes,
That's awesome.
really.
That's awesome. Was it a developer? Was it an IT professional?
Yes, senior .NET developer.
Oh wow! Well, then the commission must have been worth this
Yes,
effort.
yes,
And
yes,
it's interesting that you mention it, because now, if we just really break it down, you had to find these people, then you had to get their email addresses and send 300 emails. But to send 300 emails probably doesn't take more than, I don't know, 4 hours or 2 hours if you are really
Mm,
fast. Just
I
follows.
use a tool, mass mail.
Oh, okay. Well, then it's even easier, right? You don't really
Yes,
have to personalize it. You just probably personalize the first name,
yes.
salutation, and that's it. So, do you use something like Apollo or some other tool?
I have amazing hiring.
Amazing hiring. Oh, okay. Okay. Cool. Cool. That's one of the more expensive ones, right?
Yes,
Hmm.
but it works for sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Awesome.
Another tool I use, but I don't get many results because in Europe is not so wild renowned, is
Mhm.
Twitter. I create a business profile on Twitter, and I try to promote my jobs which I'm posting on my website, and I to get candidates, and I got candidates, but many from USA.
Oh,
Uh,
really?
this works for USA. There is Twitter. It's more famous than Facebook.
Hmm. And do you have to use certain hashtags so that people would notice your message?
Yes,
Mhm.
hashtag everywhere in LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. Yes,
Okay. Okay. Wonderful. Okay. So.
hiring and developer wanted.
Mhm.
And Twitter has 353 million active user.
Mhm.
I think nowadays it's
Mhm.
a huge
Awesome. Awesome.
platform.
It's interesting how you can mix these strategies, starting with search, posting in groups, and then also getting people's email addresses and emailing them, and then also post on other social media like Twitter. That's really impressive. It could seem a bit overwhelming for people who are just
Um,
starting out.
Actually, I'm doing this because I want not to get bored by doing only the same activity every day. That's why I'm trying to be creative and
Mhm.
to keep changing.
And then you can also evaluate what works, what doesn't work, where you get candidates from. So so when, for example, we would focus on Europe, and if you were to say get a candidate for a front-end React position in Europe, how would you go about it? What would you recommend to someone who does not have amazing hiring because it's quite expensive, and probably doesn't have LinkedIn Recruiter Lite because that's fairly expensive, either, as well for people who are just starting out.
I recommend using even Boolean search keywords, which now it's not a big deal, which is like the system of created by Bool. I think this even in logic we've learned about this,
Mhm.
and this you can use on Google search in the search bar directly or in on LinkedIn, and even there you get pretty good results by using this string.
Mhm.
Proper.
And do you also use this Boolean on Google? You mentioned X-ray just a while ago. So is this something you
Uh,
would do?
yes, I do a lot because sometimes I'm not happy with the results which I'm getting from LinkedIn Recruiter, and I try to see what I'm getting from Google, and I'm getting different profiles from there.
Mhm. And those profiles that you get from Google, do they lead eventually to LinkedIn, or do you get CVs from elsewhere?
Yes, because I can write their site dot LinkedIn and then brackets front end React in Europe, let's say, and
Mhm.
I'm getting results. Or even I can write in the last dot PDF, and I'm getting directly the CV of the candidate, which is
Mhm.
public. But sometimes they are not updated, so I prefer on LinkedIn to go.
Mhm. I see. I see. Okay. So you use additional search engine, which is Google, to get candidates on LinkedIn, because probably the search on LinkedIn itself doesn't show you the right profiles. That's interesting. That's a really interesting approach. So you have a little workaround. You just come up with good Boolean search, the X-ray search, and then you get to candidate profiles on LinkedIn.
And I can say that it helps me a lot, my company website, because I make it in WordPress by myself, and I'm posting the jobs there without company name, only the job vacancy and my email address. And in this way I can reach to candidates and make visible, and they subscribe to my website, and they keep coming back when they are ready to change the job. This is
That's
also a good point I use, and it work.
That's very good. So you take the opening, you post it on your job portal, and candidates can create an account, subscribe to your newsletter. And do you then send some newsletter, say every week or every month, to these people who subscribed?
No, they get notified when I'm posting a new job.
Oh, that's handy. That's very cool. Okay, so coming back to these sourcing tips and search strategies, like people who may be looking for new IT candidates, they may deploy some of the strategies that you just mentioned, and how can they get better over time? Because it could be probably a bit overwhelming at first, and they may need some, I don't know, help or guidance. What would be your best tip? Because you mentioned you are still learning after years of doing this. So what's the next level for someone like you, or even people who are just sort of starting?
I think it's good as well when you see the candidate's profile to evaluate the skills of the profile you are looking for, in order to see if it is a good match with your vacancy. Because in this way you don't waste your time and other people time, and you have to learn to look at the keywords. Like if you look for a front end React, then you have to see is he knows React, he knows JavaScript, he knows he might have been full stack. It has to be, let's say, from the same family tree. The skills which we are looking for the job.
It's great that you mentioned it. Definitely, it's not just about finding candidates, but also then evaluating if they are a good match to the opening. Okay, and also you mentioned that you are building up these subscribers. Do you also somehow keep track of all these people who come somehow your way? People who you pre-screen or you screen, people who you already find and you submit. Do you have some kind of talent pool? What would be your best advice on approaching the talent pool management itself?
I'm having them like the database for myself, and I'm trying to let's say filter every time according to the year's experience, location, and how often they change the job. I can see
a lot of people who are entering the IT recruitment, they are wondering how they can build up a database of IT candidates, because they can go out there and look for candidates. They can look for candidates on LinkedIn or Twitter or elsewhere, as you mentioned. But at some point, it could be a little daunting, right? So they want to start building up their own database, and you must have some database, right, by now. So how to approach it? How are you building the talent pool? How big is the talent pool? What is realistic after a few years in this industry?
Now I think I have more than 3,000, 4,000 people in my database. I save them by name, location, link, email, phone number. Even sometimes I just need to save them a link profile so I can understand fast. And there I make even some notice like what is a front end, is a Java. I'm saving them in different files in order to understand what kind of technology and frameworks is using that candidate.
Awesome. So would you say some basic spreadsheet would make it? I don't know, with name, LinkedIn URL, years of
Yes,
experience.
even Google Drive, it's fine because it saves offline and online always, and you don't lose the data if the computer is crashing.
Yes, yes. So then some IT recruiters may be a bit overwhelming with all the IT vocabulary. There are all these IT skills. You mentioned React, you mentioned Java, there is C Sharp, SharePoint and whatnot. So how do you know which skill to actually mention next to the candidate in the database? How do you know what is relevant and what is not relevant anymore? Because there are so many testing tools, libraries, frameworks, right? Do you use all of
Yes.
them, or do you just select 1, 2, 3 most important ones?
Only 2, 3, which are mainly uh, the candidate even has on the skills LinkedIn, like where he is proficient. He
Mm-hmm.
has a level, and that helps me to evaluate his profile if he's more JavaScript or React or Angular.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So high level, for example, front end developer or React skill, like something like
Yes,
this.
yes,
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, yeah. Like otherwise, I guess it would be very, very detailed and hard to
yes,
maintain.
yes. With software engineers, sometimes I have to guess what they are doing and keep analyzing them profile.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, okay. And probably the last question, not to take too much of your time, but I just realized that some people may also have fear to call candidates, and I'm just wondering what is your approach on this? Like, do you call candidates, whether those from your database or completely cold? Like, is this something you would even consider, just picking up the phone and calling candidates in Romania or elsewhere?
I'm not calling directly. I'm contacting them by email and scheduling the call according to them availability. Because if they are at job, they won't reply me. And even it happens sometimes they say, "Oh, why you call me now? I'm busy," and they get rude and they block me. So I prefer to schedule the call.
Mm-hmm.
Be, let's say, polite.
Yeah, yeah. And do you then schedule through Microsoft Teams or Zoom or
Uh,
out something?
yes, on Microsoft Teams mostly, and even on WhatsApp. They
Mm-hmm.
are replying very fast.
Awesome, awesome. So you have their phone number, you chat with them on WhatsApp or Viber or whatever, and then you get them on a call. Awesome,
Yes.
awesome. Makes sense. Wonderful, wonderful. Great. So yeah, I guess this is very helpful for people who are transitioning to IT recruitment. It may be different to what people are used to outside of IT, right? Outside of IT, probably they just post an opening and dozens of people apply. In IT, we have to be a lot more creative, as you mentioned, go out there and hunt for all these IT professionals, whether on LinkedIn or Twitter or Google or
Yes, because otherwise all the juniors will come to your post,
yeah, thanks,
and
thanks.
we need senior.
Yes, yes, we need seniors on all fronts, right? Also senior developers, but also senior recruiters. So I hope a lot of people who will watch this video with you will also level up in their seniority, thanks to your advice and suggestions. So thanks a lot for sharing your best practices.
Welcome. Thank you
Thank you.
for the discussion. It was a pleasure.